Just about every day of the week, Steve Slostad makes his way to the gym. Watching him work out with determination and a focus on his future, it's hard to believe what happened in his past. In fact, it's a miracle Steve is even here today. But when you meet him, you know why.
If you put your mind to it, you can overcome a whole lot of stuff. And it makes me feel pretty good to be able to put that out there.
20 years ago, Steve's will to live and the medical care Harborview's trauma team gave him saved his life.
I was dead. I had bled to death.
He was definitely critically injured. There's no doubt about it.
But beyond saving his life, one orthopedic surgeon at Harborview Medical Center gave Steve much more.
I feel the care that Dr. Chapman has given me has provided me with a quality of life that I would have never had.
That quality of life made it possible for Steve to do the impossible. But to understand how amazing his recovery is, we have to take you back to when it all began. In March of 1992, Steve was an avid sportsman with a passion for jet skis. He had just started a job on a construction site, clearing 100-foot trees. But being in the wrong place at the wrong time put Steve in the path of a huge fir tree as it came crashing toward the earth.
The tree hit me right on the back of the shoulder blades, and then how your back kind of curves like this, it slid down my back, and then when it caught the curve part, then it pinned me down underneath of it to where my feet were pointed down at the ground like if you were sitting on your knees and your feet, and it broke this foot completely in half, every bone, and then pinned my back to the ground.
Steve was near death. After a frantic call to 911, a medevac unit rushed him to Harborview.
We are blessed with a unique situation here in the Pacific Northwest with Harborview because we are truly the only level 1 trauma center in a very large area. And we have the privilege of having a very good recovery system here, both with Medic One locally and with Life Flight more regionally.
He would not be here had they not gotten him to Harborview in such a timely manner. They got him to Harborview with the great system they have got set up for the trauma within 18 minutes.
But those 18 minutes were only the beginning. Steve's mother knew her son was in for the fight of his life.
When Steve went in the hospital, I arrived after they already had taken him in for his last rites. They gave him no chance for 3 weeks of surviving.
He was actually in a life-threatened condition. He had severe contusion traumas to his torso. He had bleeding, intestinal bleeding, and he obviously was paralyzed pretty much from his waist down. He had unstable vital signs, so he needed to be on very aggressive resuscitation.
They fought to keep him alive. He kept failing, and they kept, the first 8 days were 12 to 18-hour surgeries almost every day. Same surgeons every day in there trying to keep Steve alive and trying to put in a system that would give him the strength to have any kind of a life.
Once that slender thread of life was fortified, Dr. Chapman could start rebuilding Steve's broken body.
He was basically paralyzed from his waist down. He had a documented complete loss of all neurologic function. That means motor, sensory, reflex, and bowel and bladder control, and male function. So basically we had a second and a fourth vertebra that were burst. In the beginning, we went in from the back, and we basically put titanium screws into the fifth, the third, the first vertebra above, surrounding more or less the injury, and we decompressed the spinal canal from the back.
Of course, what they have to do is they tell you you're not going to be able to walk again, and I just didn't want to hear that.
After spending months in the hospital, Steve endured many more in rehab.
I had one focus, one goal, I mean, that was eat, sleep, and exercise, and I was just so focused. I didn't really do anything else. I wanted to get better, and that was my life.
Even though he had a long way to go, all the effort paid off. Defying incredible odds, Steve took his first crucial steps.
became so mobile and so determined to walk again is amazing. And I remember in rehab very early on, he said, "I'm going to walk again." And he said that like a mantra. And I hear that from a lot of patients, but they usually give up. He didn't give up.
Once Steve was able to walk, he had another goal, that one day he'd be back on a jet ski. As soon as Steve discovered a jet ski that had a built-in seat for support, he never looked back.
As soon as I rode it, I was just like, oh my gosh. It changed my life. I was like, this is one of my favorite things to do, and now I'm doing it again. My disability is not affecting it. I'm just out there doing what I love to do, and this is so cool.
What started out as fun turned into serious competition. Not only did Steve race, but he won, eventually representing Team Yamaha and winning national awards, including the state championship.
It was a challenge. It gave me something to do and focus on, and that was just how I did it.
But life beyond jet ski racing still held a few more surprises for Steve.
He obviously did a hell of a job in recovering, and the miracle at some point in time started where we started noticing that his nerve function came down from the initial very high injury level, and he regained function in his thighs and his legs. The fact that he has a pretty good bowel and bladder control and that he's able to function as a male, and not only is that, but actually procreate, is just incredible.
I would say it was about 10 years before that function started working again. I pretty much thought that wasn't going to be a part of my life. Stevie Lynn, she's definitely the center of my life. You couldn't ask for a better daughter.
He was meant to be here for this little girl. He definitely was meant to be her daddy. She is just the joy of his life.
Well, here are your x-rays today. I'm going to obviously take a look at you also clinically, but this is your new construct.
Recently, Steve has undergone more surgery with Dr. Chapman to repair years of wear and tear on his back.
Wouldn't be here without him. He's incredible. Dr. Chapman helped me considerably. I think that a lot of his decisions and his care made a profound impact in my life.
Disability, to some degree, is a state of mind. It's a classic example. He just took life by the horns and went right back at it. And again, he proved to this point to be so true. Disability is a state of the mind.
I just don't look at life maybe in that way of like I'm here for this certain purpose, but like when I go to the gym every day and there's people there that come up to me that I don't even know, and they're like, you know what, my back hurts and I didn't feel like coming in the gym today, but I knew you were going to be here. And that made me want to come in because I know you're doing it and you're far worse off than I am, so you inspire me. I don't know, there's just a feeling that that gives you. You're just like, wow, maybe without even trying, maybe I am giving back to people.
With his family's support and his own true grit, Steve's survival has been nothing short of a miracle. A miracle that began the day he landed in the capable hands of Harborview.
I got lucky when I went to Harborview and saw good surgeons that had the technology and the gear to put me back together. That was lucky for me.